This is the 32nd largest lake on Earth. No one ever boasts about finishing 32nd, but I tell you that this lake has a magic to rival any other. This immense lake contains an estimated 500 islands, most of them far from the mainland and remote. But it holds these scenic wonders hostage from would-be visitors. Rough water and rugged shorelines guard the islands like a moat and castle walls, with sentries on the lookout for intruders and archers loosing bolts from above. But if I could infiltrate their hard shell, what treasures might these secluded islands hold? To find out, I planned a 200-kilometer tour of the islands in the very heart of this mighty giant. Starting out down the Wabanash River, which is surprisingly scenic. Got a bit of pre-trip jitters for a big lake like this, being out in the middle of it on islands. As soon as I get camp set up tonight, I'm sure I'll feel nice and settled in. Into Wabanash Lake. What a stunning start to this trip. Some tenuous weather here, sprinkle of rain, bit of thunder in the distance, but at least I'm done the lake section here where it's open. Ahead there's a rapid, there's gonna be a carry around that, I hope. Hopefully there's a good trail, and then I'll be into Lake Nipigon. Oh, that looks like a wall of rain coming. Yeah, here it comes. Shower passed quickly, a little rapid to run, and now a bigger one with a ton of pelicans sitting on it. Looking for the trail. This might be it. Yep, this is it. Looks like a good trail, at least from the start of it. And suddenly it's a bluebird day again. That was a surprisingly great trail. Nice to have it done. I'm going through there, through those narrows to the open lake. But it seems like round 2 of the storm might be on the way. Thunder getting closer, rain starting to pitter-patter, so in standby mode here. Yeah, it's getting closer. I don't think this is gonna miss. There's a massive pelican. Yeah, it seems like that was a good call. Probably pass in just a few minutes. Still lots of thunder. The rain is past. I haven't seen any lightning. I think I'm just gonna carry on. I gotta find camp. Launched the canoe and then Ram 3 started coming in. At least I'm under this very effective umbrella. Meanwhile, the portage trails turned into a little stream. Waited that out for about an hour and a half, so I gotta get to camp ASAP, but it just keeps rolling. Sun's breaking through at least. Still a bit of thunder, but I gotta get on the move. It seems like it's simmering down. I don't want to camp here. There are all these pelicans, which are majestic, but this is like a septic running out here. It's a lot of bird poop. Not where I want to get my water. Wow. Just beautiful here. Wow, what a scene. A 100 kilometers long, 60 wide, and over 500 feet deep, Lake Nipigon is known to some as the unofficial 6th Great Lake. 2 years ago, Aaron and I paddled its perimeter and experienced both its fair and foul moves, with a parade of natural wonders along the way. From the elusive woodland caribou to the lake's fabled brook trout, this place felt enchanted. Even Nipigon's nasty days put on a show, one best viewed from the safety of shore. But those 22 days around the shoreline only left me craving more. I obsessed over the islands we saw in the distance, far out of reach then. This time, the plan was flipped. I would break from the mainland and follow the siren song of these lost islands. My hope was to see at least 50 of them, and perhaps to cure this insatiable curiosity. Yeah, that pelican septic system is backed up here where the lake meets the flow. You can really smell it here. Here comes the rain again. And the ppm is much too high. Pelican poop, parts per million. Oh boy, here it comes. And the forecast I had today didn't really indicate rain or anything. Whew. That is a good shower. Holy cow. Well, the weather may not be cooperating, but the scenery couldn't be much better. And the first island of the tour is coming into view, and it's a doozy. Inner Barn Island. I was wondering where the rainbow was, and there it is. Probably the biggest rainbow I've ever seen. This is shaping up to be a gem already. Inner Barn Island, rainbow, Outer Barn Island. Dazzling. It was a little bit nasty back there with all the pelican excrement, but ahead of me is a lake that is deep, cold, and so pure. Oh my goodness, what a spot. Not exactly hospitable though for camping, so I gotta find something soon. It's almost 8 o'clock. Wow, oh my goodness. Sadly, there's nowhere remotely viable to camp here. So I'm gonna move on to some small islands to the east. Hopefully something will turn up. too promising over here. Ain't much better in here, kid. Okay, we're gonna tuck in here and find something. Not too good. Not too good. On to the next one. Bit of a breeze building. Might have to make this work. Decent area to get out. That's been the problem. It's been steep, but I'll just check around the corner. Just make sure. Less than an hour of daylight left, and this island is gonna have to work. Scratch something out with the hammock. The next ones are a fair distance away, and it'll be dark by the time I'm there, so I'm just gonna make it work. If I can find anywhere reasonable for the hammock, this is gonna be it. Should be something. Can't say it's ideal, but it'll do. I'll be out of here early tomorrow. Not quite setting the turf up properly here, but it's not supposed to rain. And if it does, well, at least I have something. Yeah, that's pretty janky, but one of those nights where it seems like a bit of a paradise. Finally time to cook dinner too. It's 10 o'clock. I should have just had some granola and gone to bed, but it didn't seem like a good way to end the first day, which was so great. And I've got some pierogies that I really want to eat up. Oh my goodness. Pierogies with jalapeno and onion. Oh, and the chives. I forgot the chives. Now we're talking. So worth it. Almost midnight and I'm finally getting into bed. I gotta be up in 5 hours to make a couple of big crossings before anything kicks up. It's gonna be the nature of the trip quite often, I think, is getting up real early to beat the weather. Should be a lovely paddle though. On my way at 6:20. There's some wind that's supposed to kick up later, and tomorrow looks not good, and I've got some crossings to make. I was camped in this cluster of islands, got a good 2 kilometer crossing over to Ken's Rock, and then after Outer Barn 3 kilometers to this cluster where I then have some options. I can go south, I can go across, so I just want to get to there and then decide what to do. Lake seems to be settling down after a breezy night. Should be an excellent paddle. Dry suit's ready to pull over my head if need be. If things get choppy. And last night I boiled up a thermos of water for coffee, which I desperately need. Just look at this glorious work of art. Sunrise straight out of Star Wars, here on planet Tatooine. Coming up to Outer Barn Island. Seems like a good place for cup number 2. I'm hoping to visit at least 50 islands on this tour, and it's hard to get a sense of the scale of the islands, but Inner and Outer Barn Island are huge, but they're dwarfed by some of these other islands. Like Kelvin Island is a good 20 kilometers on the south shore of it. That would take a full day basically of paddling. Easily you could spend 2 or 3 days just going around that one island. Looking at the map, you could almost be led to thinking that this is just a little weekend trip, but no, there's a lot to see. Conditions are still excellent, so I'm going to do that 3.5 kilometer crossing over to Bear Island. That's B-A-R-E. However, I am wondering about bears and other big animals. I wonder what lives on these islands, well offshore, away from the mainland. Inner Barn Island is fading away there, and the views just keep rolling though. This is remarkable. All of a sudden, the wind's kicking up. Nothing yet, but it's going to take a good half hour to get this crossing done, so suiting up. Well, thankfully conditions stayed good and got across in between Bear and Snake Island here. And I knew the islands would be rugged on this trip, but there's been almost nowhere to get out. Like, this is the best that I've found, and it's a 30-degree angle. So I'm going to continue around, and priority for today is going to be finding a good camp. Can't be too picky or pass up too much. There's an excellent book on Lake Nepean by Nancy Scott, and in it she writes about the islands, saying that they are an attractive destination for paddlers, boaters, and fishermen, but the hazards of crossing expanses of water to reach them create a serious challenge. The islands are commonly vegetated with old-growth, stunted, and tangled forests due to the cold, humid conditions on the lake. Forest fires are generally rarer here than farther inland, thus fostering the perpetuation of old forests. Landing on the islands can be difficult because of rough water, broken rock shorelines, or the loss of beach landing sites due to high water levels. Sums it up pretty well so far. There's a threat of thunderstorms today and tomorrow again, and it's starting to haze over. Lake is glass right now. There's not even a little bit of a breeze, which has made it sticky hot, but at least travel conditions are good. Still haven't spotted one respectable looking campsite yet, but there are a few marked on the map, and I'm gonna make for the one at the bottom of Bell Island, see if it's any good. So before I got to that marked campsite, another beach turned up. And normally I avoid beaches because sand gets in everything, but right now I'm thrilled. It's pretty pristine. There's tons of firewood. Great spot for the hammock back in these woods. Yeah, this is a huge upgrade. Yeah, this worked out pretty perfectly. Got shade. There's even that breeze kicking up, rolling right through here. It's perfect. Finally having a good meal today. Falafel with red cabbage, dill hummus, crispy onion bits and peri-peri sauce. Mmm. So here's where I'm at after day 2, Bell Island. I'm hoping to end this loop down here along Kelvin Island, so I'm trying to save that. So tomorrow I want to come down through here and then head north up along Geeky Island into this area. Some of the islands are colored green, which just means that they're small and sensitive to caribou calving. The bigger ones, it's not such a concern, and you're not allowed to go near these ones until mid-July. It's mid-August now, so that's not an issue. And it also notes some anchorages, and these little brown lines are beaches. So I'll be looking for those moving forward for campsites. Cheers to a great day. Much better than yesterday's camp, at least. Both great days though. Wind is kicking up and the lake's starting to white cap. Nice to be off the water. Well, the wind's been welcome here on this muggy day. Fun to watch the waves roll in too. Not that these are big for this lake. And I'm gonna be up early again tomorrow, so hitting the hay. Day 3, weather forecast in the SATCOM is looking a bit dubious, and I thought about just sleeping in and seeing what happens. But conditions are good enough to get going, and once I get around the southern end of Bell Island, then I should be a lot more sheltered. If I stayed here, there's, I don't know, maybe 40 kilometers of open water that way, so that's a lot of fetch for something to build up. Could end up windbound. Best to get into some more sheltered areas for the next couple days. It's looking pretty windy. Heading for Kelvin Island, the top of it. Be nice to get behind it. This is more like it. On the north side of Kelvin Island now. And I'm just gonna cruise along here for a bit until the weather's looking a bit friendlier. There's some thunder in the distance. Sounds like it might be coming this way. Just pulled up to a nice little beach. There's actually a bit of a campsite here. Obviously, some other people have enjoyed the spot. What's the nicest way I can put this? Unfortunately, there were slovenly pigs who deserve to be banished to the moon. They just don't deserve this planet. It's too beautiful. There's garbage everywhere. Quite a shame. Gonna have some coffee and breakfast here and see what this weather's gonna do. Just heard something right over there. I wonder if it could be a caribou, but don't see a thing. Just thunder. Here it comes. First wave passed and it was getting light, and suddenly it is dark. I'd need my headlamp right now if I wanted to read. It is really coming down. I needed my my flashlight to record anything here. The wind is really picking up too. Oh no, it's happening. Well, I thought the storm would pass quickly like on day one, but I've been here for 3 hours now. Hope I can be back on my way soon. This is the last of the coffee. Four and a half hours later, seems like the storm has passed, although I just heard a big rumble of thunder in the distance. I kind of wished I had stayed at camp this morning. Could have been in the hammock, but that spot would have been really exposed to that storm, and I couldn't have been more sheltered here. And my tarp got pooped on by some chickadees last night, and now it's nice and clean. So, all good. I'm going to try and get on my way. Hopefully that's it for the storms and rain today, but the wind will be the bigger factor. It looks like it could get nasty today and tomorrow. All conditions are good. I'm going to try and bolt up Geeky Island to this area tomorrow. If the south wind's blowing up, then I can still explore in this area, hopefully. Well, it's dead calm now. Sun's coming back out, so it's super muggy again. Just a gentle swell left from the storm. And ahead are the Keem Islands in between Bell and Geeky. So I'm heading through them. Otters. I think they just caught a fish and then left it. I guess they wanted to get out of here. Burbot. Poor thing. I'm sure they'll come back for it. Wind is picking up again, but just grateful that I got calm conditions for that exposed section back there, and we'll see how far I get. A mink. Mink are always hilarious. Wildlife's picking up here in these island clusters. Coming up Geeky now, and it's a fair exposure here. The wind feels like it might be picking up, so I'm a bit wary. Wind is right on the cusp. If it picks up, it's to turn ugly. For now, I'm gonna try and get in a little more distance. On a lake like this, you just gotta take some gambles. It's the name of the game. Worst case, I got a crash landing into some broken rock shoreline. Yep, this is the threshold. The wind is definitely picking up. Starting to white cap. These waves may not look like much, but if one breaks at the wrong second, fill my boat up with water in a millisecond. So, it's not where I hope to end, but there's a little cove ahead. That's gonna have to be it. I've made the mistake of waiting just a little too long to get off the water, especially on Lake Superior, and it's not fun at that point. Well, considering that I had no options, this worked out pretty nicely. Pristine little cozy beach with an outstanding sunset view. The waves, I can see the whitecaps out there, but from within the cove it looks like there's nothing going on. I'm gonna eat. There's been not a lot of opportunities to have proper meals on this trip so far. And then if I can continue, that would be ideal to get on the north side of Geeky. If not, this is a pretty cool spot. Pretty interesting bowl of wood here. Cradle of life. Jalapeno black bean burrito bowl tonight. Long overdue. Just went to the pet store. Got a new for a little friend. That's never happened before. Scooped up a minnow. Come on. Well, that was a perfect break. I feel ready to go. The waves have definitely calmed down. I can barely see any white caps now. My only hesitation is knowing that whatever I find for camp tonight might not be as good as this, but yeah, I want to beat the wind for tomorrow. It's just about 5 kilometers or so to get around to the north side. I don't want to be left regretting it tomorrow if I don't do it. Yeah, it seems pretty good out here. The wind still gusts a little bit, like it's going to come back. Hopefully it's going to hold off. Just need an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just got around that point, which was stirring things up quite a bit. Should be a little bit calmer ahead. That's my point ahead. A few more kilometers. That's a good feeling. Hopefully a good camp somewhere ahead. The map says there's a campsite in this cove, so I'm going to check it out. Well, there's a thin beach back there. No real view of sunrise or sunset. It seems like a downgrade from when I was at earlier, so I'm going to continue. Billings Island, according to the map, has tons of beaches, so should be something better there. Hopefully. Looks like it's shaping up to be a good sunset. I'd like a front row seat. And I said I wanted to hold out for a sunset view. I didn't think it'd be from the canoe. Nothing but broken rock shorelines here. And I woke up at 5:30 this morning. I didn't think I'd be paddling till sunset either. Still loving it. Well, camping opportunities were as dismal as ever. The first beach marked on the map was nothing at all, and it wasn't looking too good. And I came around the corner to what should have been the larger beach, and it is a huge beach. Thank goodness. Oh my goodness. This is turning into a really special trip. Unbelievable. And there are lots of ungulate tracks here. Caribou, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. A bit more curved than moose. Oh, amazing. Flawless sand. I can't wait to go for a proper walk down the beach tomorrow, but that's going to take some time, so better save it for morning. Just soak this in. And that, my friends, is why you hold out for the sunset view. Brought the hammock and tent on this trip to maximize the potential campsites. And at least after this I'm done. Unlike night number 1 when I still had to cook and whatnot, I can just crawl right into bed. I believe this calls for a nip of the wolf juice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a wrap on day 3. Can't wait to have a good sleep and do it again. There's a thunderstorm going on across the lake. Incredible. Gorgeous start here to day 4 after 3 very full days. It's nice to start this one a little slower. Just taking a nice long beach walk here after coffee. Nice and cool. Whew, this is a good one. The tops of the trees are catching the wind here a bit. It blew all night and I could hear the surf. Extra nice to be sheltered here. Got to the end of the beach, which is punctuated by this nice erratic. It's well over a kilometer long, maybe closer to a mile. Barn Islands in the distance. I can barely even make out the canoe over there. Wishing every day could start like this. The corner I camped in is very sheltered, but you can feel the wind out here. I should probably get on my way. Even this side of Billings is getting chopped up. Back to camp, enjoying a second cup of coffee. A couple of luxuries I bring on a big lake trip like this with little portaging. Thermos gives me enough for a freeze-dried meal and 2 coffees. And the hammock, ultralight hammock. If I'm bringing the tent, I need the pad, and I bring a tarp anyway, just in case it's really rainy. So all I need to bring is this to give myself way more campsite opportunities. That first night, I don't know what I would have done without the hammock, so pretty cushy here. So the plan for today is to tour around these islands here and probably skip over to Logan tomorrow when it's hopefully calmer. It's looking pretty rough out there where it's exposed. It is pretty breezy coming out of the shelter of the cove, and the northern tip of Billings Island even looks like it might be pretty chopped up, so even being relatively leeward today might be more limited than I hoped. Yep, getting swelly out here. Feels like the safe thing to do in these situations is to stay close to shore, but that's where the waves break the most, so a little better off offshore here. Pretty fun ride at the moment, all good. Whoa! Should be in the clear now. The wind is ferocious today, that's for sure. At least I'm not dealing with the waves behind these big islands. I'm at the east point of Billings now and trying to decide what to do. Either head south toward Geeky or across to White Eaves Island. After that I want to head north, so see what the wind dictates once I get around this point. Yeah, it was pretty nasty. So I got back behind the point, and instead of going to Geeky, which would be difficult with the wind, I'm going to cross over to White Eaves. Take it from there. I was tempted to wait and have lunch, but it looks like it'll only get stronger. If I can get to White Eaves, then it should be in good shape tomorrow morning to get a good calm paddle in before the wind picks up. Those big swells come through every once in a while. I can just keep my paddle in the water and brace. Just a cork floating on the water. Gotta watch out for these shoals. Coming along the top of White Eaves now, and I'm really hoping there's gonna be a place to camp, because with this wind I don't have too many other places I can go. Came along the top of White Eaves, nothing good for camp, and then started around the east side of the island, which started to get pretty chopped up again over there around that point. So I backpedaled back to what seemed like a pretty good option, and on second look is fantastic. It's really the only slab of rock that I've seen, which is really my preference for camping on. Getting a little juice there, decent hammock spot back there. That's, I guess, the only thing that made me think twice about it, but it'll work. And I'm heading over there tomorrow, so I'll be able to see in the morning if it's good across the channel to go across. This is awesome. Really as good as I hoped for. Be nice to be in the shade for the hammock in there. Beautiful mossy woods. Dried eggs reconstituted with cheese and bacon bits for a very late lunch. Kicked my feet up in the hammock for a bit, and I'm now just enjoying the view. Things are simmering down out there, and it's leaving me feeling like I should have taken a lunch break and then continued. There's a long way to go, and I'd say what I've done so far is the easy part, in the sense that I have lots of options. I could go this way or that way, behind this island or that island. And in a couple of days, I'm going to be getting to a section where I've got to go through some very small islands, either the Ramblers and the Rabbits, which are intriguing sounding, or down through the southern end of these remote islands in the middle of the lake. Either way, it's going to take some big crossings, and I'm going to need some calm conditions to do it, because there's no protection there from big islands or anything like that. I'm excited, but yeah, hope I get the right conditions. Full moon setting in the west, Jupiter and Venus clearly visible to the east, and the sun's coming up. What a day on planet Earth. Alright, leaving my beloved slab of rock behind. hopefully find another one tonight. It's so nice being able to sprawl your stuff out, not having sand or dirt attached to everything. According to the SATCOM forecast, the south wind is going to kick up later and get pretty strong overnight and into tomorrow. So I've got to make as much progress today as I can. I'm going to head between Ord and Venor Island, and probably up to Hoffman, over to Logan, and then down to Burnt and Murchison. Hopefully I can get all that done before it gets too breezy around here. Very scenic here in the channel between Ord and Venor Islands. Tons of little micro islands, moody lighting, and calm right for now. That breeze is building. Always on my mind out here on these big lake trips. Always got to be aware of it. This is glorious at the moment. Feeling nervous today for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm listening to Life of Pi as I fall asleep, and last night the boat sunk. So my gut tells me that I don't have time to go to Hoffman if I want to make this crossing to Ramsey and Murchison. So I'm going to cut across from Venor straight over to Logan and then go south from there. Got across to Logan, all good still. So I'm going to make for Burnt Island to the south, 3.5 kilometers. There are a couple of small islands on the way to break that up, which helps a lot. But there's a huge expanse here, a good 40 kilometers plus of fetch, with only some small islands to break that up, so they wouldn't do anything. Like the Rambler Islands and the Rabbits are somewhere out there. I can't even make them out. Now that breeze is building a little bit, and there's a bit of a chop. I should have time to get across okay. Coming up to the Little Burnt Islands. Made it to Burnt Island, where conditions are quite good. There's a bit of sheltering islands here, and I'll just continue for as long as I can. Blue skies, looking good. It's early afternoon now. South wind is picking up as expected. I'm heading into it toward Ramsey Island ahead. And I might try and make camp in this cluster because it keeps several, or 3 options open anyway. I think I can see the Rabbit Islands out there. They look like nothing. With the wind picking up, decided to get off the water, rinse my clothes, rinsed myself, and I've got a pretty good spot here. Incredible view. There's this huge exposure in this section, so with the wind coming up, I didn't want to have to resort to a really lousy site, especially because the wind might get worse overnight and tomorrow, so there's a good chance I'll be stuck here for 2 nights. So yeah, pretty good spot. Hammocks back there. I got some rock. Not bad. Wrapping things up here for day 5. Got veggie chili with toasted garlic naan for dinner. And I'm marking the map up with the distances of the longer potential crossings. The main reason I stopped here in the Ramsey cluster is so that I have a few options left. I could go down along Murchison, over to Eagle Egg and the Rabbits. Or if this is just seeming too exposed, I could even cut back to Els and the other side of Geeky and go down this way. All are interesting. I'm not going to get too attached to anything. Gonna have to stay flexible. I measured the crossings out on my offline topo maps. And here's what the weather forecast looks like from the SATCOM. But for wind, I only get a 48-hour forecast down here in the hourlies. And yeah, in the morning, 37, 37, 35, and then keeping up throughout the day.
So the wind blew hard all night as expected. Looks like I'm not going anywhere for the moment. Nothing crazy, but it's not canoeing weather either. Time for some coffee. I got my little dry slab of rock here. Perfect breakers right in front of me to keep it dry. Pretty good.
I was certainly hoping to avoid getting windbound on this trip, but it was probably going to happen at least one day. So, middle of the trip, good rest day, worked out pretty well. Sun's coming out. It is looking just beautiful here. Got the canoe well out of the water last night. Anywhere there's bare rock is susceptible to be hammered by waves, sweep everything away. Given the lack of portaging on this trip, I brought some extra camera gear, including my macro lens and this, a close-up filter. Attach this on the end, like any other filter, and that'll get me even closer to the little details. Have some fun with this. When you look at the little details in nature, you realize that every square inch of earth is crawling with life. I really love macro photography. However, to do the best work, you need supplemental lighting and focus stacking to compensate for the extreme depth of field. It's hard to keep your subject in focus, especially with video and with the wind blowing your subject around. But it's an enjoyable challenge. $11 o'clock now, no signs of slowing. So that close-up filter is essentially a magnifying glass. Haven't tried this since I was a kid. I can get it to smolder immediately, but it won't combust. A sucker just turned up here in the shallows. At first I thought he was dying or injured. I think he might just be sniffing out some grub. I don't know, he might be right where he wants to be. Although an eagle could snatch him up like nothing, so maybe not. Now, the wind is shifting from the south now to more or less west, so I'm getting a bit of protection from Ramsey Island. And tonight should be northwest, so hopefully that'll allow me to launch in the morning. One thing about these islands, they are densely populated with insects, especially spiders. They're just everywhere. Luckily I'm not really squeamish about spiders at all, but they've been biting me. I've been getting these welts, like I had this one here on my neck, and they last for several days and they're very itchy the whole time, unlike mosquito bites, which kind of go away. Walking through any woods, I walk through spider webs and they just come off of branches and whatnot, and I guess they get into my clothes and they don't mean any harm, but they're just trapped and they bite. Nothing venomous here though. I'm looking to head either that way or that way toward Murchison, and all of that's very exposed right now. Almost supper time here, and even if things just calm down immediately, there's just not enough time in the day left to do anything with it. So green light on the scotch. Funny thing about all these small islands, if you look at it on Google Maps, you got this head on the side. Looks kind of like a zombie or some demented head. And over here it looks like a cantankerous old man. And it kind of looks like they're spitting at each other. Well, it looks like the thunderstorms might be back. Just heard a big boom, and that big fella seems to be heading my way. Well, that storm didn't last long. Kicked up the lake a little bit, but I'm gonna get some dinner going, get to bed in good time, hopefully be on the move early tomorrow. Cool, blustery start to day 7, but I was expecting this and it seems like it's settling down. There are waves on the horizon, so it is sloshing around out there where there's some fetch, but I'll be able to get on my way at least. Waves aren't slamming in here, and that's a relief. I did not expect the weather to be this rough based on the 10-day forecast when I left. Way fewer thunderstorms, way less wind, but hopefully it's gonna turn around. I gotta make up some progress after 3 slow days, and today's got to be a big one. About to head out finally from what I'm calling Spider Island, and there's a north-northwest wind today, so I'm going to head down here and try and use it down to this area All of this is just very exposed, so let's hope conditions are cooperative. Back on the water, feels good to be floating again. Been enjoying the shelter of the Ramsey cluster so far, but about to do a crossing about 1.5 kilometers over to Murchison. Looks doable. Not going to be a pleasure cruise, but it'll be alright. It's pretty breezy though. Made it across, wasn't too bad, and it's just a relief to have some calm waters to paddle through. Tomorrow the wind is supposed to pick up again from the south, so yeah, it's just a relief to be able to proceed for today at least. I'm gonna have to squeeze every drop out of this day. There's a phenomenon that happens on large bodies of waters and oceans where distant objects on the horizon seem to be sort of floating and the edges of them don't seem to touch the horizon. Pretty cool. It's a gloomy day out here, but beautiful. And I've arrived at the mouth of the Demented Head, which I've decided is actually a punk kid. And a punk kid has hawked out a loogie in the form of Hall Island, as opposed to on the west side where the cantankerous old man has expectorated quite sloppily with Dawson Island more or less falling out of his mouth. Found a good calm spot to have a break, and what better place to eat lunch than the mouth of a punk kid? Teenagers are always hungry. So am I. Departing from Murchison Island, heading over to Lyle and Selwyn. Old battered boulders here along the south shore of Selwyn. It's nice to be behind it for protection. And then there's a big decision for the trip. From Porcupine I can either go over to the Ramblers and the Rabbits, down across the southern stretch here, or I wasn't even really considering this. It's a 7-kilometer crossing, but maybe to Dawson. It's a possibility. It would have to be very calm to think about that. I've been mulling this decision over for the last 48 hours, and I think I've finally decided I'm going to go for the southern route. It was sort of what I wanted, just to do a loop around the perimeter. If I go to the Rabbits, I'm going into the wind, fighting it, to Dawson, 7 kilometers over, and I'd be taking the wind broadside. If I go to the south, I get to ride the wind, and I can see there's safe harbor on Harbor Island, and a campsite on Anderson, so it's nice to know there is some refuge there being so exposed. There are south winds coming up. There's really nowhere to hide from them, so I'm just gonna go with this. Coming up to Porcupine Island now, which has a bit of elevation. I was hoping it might be like a mini barn island, but no, it's not in that league. Still nice. Some old rock and cedars, which look sort of like big bonsai trees. Onto Gillespie. Look at that incredible formation. That's Gillespie over there. Looks like it might have some decent cliffs. Roger, two small ones. Bison, and then the one with a bit of a peak is Harbor, I believe. And I'm trying to go to Anderson beyond that. That's a good ways. Roger's next. The shoreline's been very rugged in this section. It's been hard to find anywhere to get out. Finally just did. My hamstrings were screaming for a break. I haven't gotten up since my lunch break 5 hours ago or stood up at all, so this feels good. Got some peanut butter and honey wraps and the biggest crossing of the trip ahead, over to Bison. 5 kilometers as the crow flies. Probably 5.5 as the paddler paddles. There's Bison ahead. About to start this 5-kilometer crossing. Lake is settling down just in time. 6:15 or so. Still have close to 15 kilometers left. Give me a late one. Here's the perspective right now. Not a soul around. Just in the middle of this huge lake. For lovers of quiet and solitude, this is good living. Almost there. This is turning into some paddle. I had no clue this was here. Stunning. We're gonna power ahead. I've got about 8 kilometers left to Anderson Island, and I'll have maybe just enough daylight, maybe not quite, to get camp set up there, hopefully. It's not like I'm passing up any camping opportunities here. It's been rugged. I'm loving every second of it. On to harbor. Saved enough hot water for an instant coffee in the event that this day went all the way, which it looks like it's going to. A couple small islands ahead, 3.5 kilometer crossing, another small island, and then Anderson right after that. So close. Not much sun left. Might be making camp in the dark. Anderson Island ahead. Past 40 kilometers for the day now. What a treat this paddle has been. When paddling an open canoe on a big lake, you gotta make hay while the sun shines. When you get conditions like these, just gotta go. I just really hope I can find this marked campsite on Anderson, because I'll have just a little light, but after that, if I can't find it, then I have to find something in the dark, which would be tougher. It's already tough on this lake. Fingers crossed. That doesn't look campable. It looks like maybe a beach back there, I don't know. No idea if this is it, but I think it'll do. I can't even make it out. It's not a steep rock wall, at least. Yahoo! Oh, thank goodness. Actually become quite chilly suddenly. Eerie business setting up camp in the dark, but a beautiful experience. It's all worth it. So I've already eaten dinner. I have some water in the reservoir. All I had to do was brush, pull up the canoe, hammocks up, go straight to bed. Could be up at first light to try and beat the wind tomorrow and get over to Kelvin Island, which is the whole reason why I rushed to get here, was so that I could have a chance to get across there and avoid getting windbound in these islands for 2 days or more. Who knows? Fingers crossed for tomorrow. Just drifting off beneath the stars now. Milky Way. Big Dipper is right in front of me. Pretty cool to be out here in the middle of the lake, watching the stars. There's been a couple shooting stars already. Should be getting to sleep, but can't. 4:30 in the morning. There's some aurora glow as I was going to bed, but it's improved. What a vantage point. I just can't believe this place. Still plenty of stars. Just before first light. It is swirling up there. What a start to day 8, and those lights were despite the moon interference, which is still very bright. But there's a bit of light out there, and that means it's time to get going. I can hear a moderate surf on the other side of this island. I'm so protected here, it's hard to leave before even really enjoying this spot properly, but northern lights from the hammock, I guess I can't complain. All set to head out. Just a charming little beach here. Didn't really get a look last night. Pebble Beach. There was a perfect spot for the hammock here, and then if it was rough, I could tuck in back here. Yeah, I like it a lot. Just spectacular out here this morning. I'm heading to a small island over there and then on to Kelvin Island. Looks like the wind is holding off enough for now to get across. Sun rising over Bison. In the lee of the Anderson Islands. Nice and calm here for a second. I'm about to cross over. I'm pretty exhausted. It's gonna be a short day, but it'll be worth it. 2.5 kilometers to the first island. Pretty big swells out here. Most of the crossings so far haven't even gotten my heart rate up. It's been pounding a little bit here. There's some swells that have almost crested right at the boat. They're not breaking, but they are cresting a little. Yeah, in an hour, I doubt this would be possible. If I hadn't made it to Anderson, hadn't got up as early as I did, I don't think I'd be making this crossing today. I'm trying to keep the islands downwind of me, just in case a wave does break in the boat in a swamp. At least I'll get blown there. When you think about potentially 500 feet of black abyss beneath you, you can almost get a sense of vertigo out here. On the plus side, this is keeping me wide awake. No yawning here.
like it was gonna break on me. Highly recommend not trying this yourself. Shit. This feels like an eternity. Almost there. First third of that was the worst. This is Anderson Island. I think the waves were sweeping around both sides and kind of meeting, which made it a lot worse than expected. Like, this is more what I expected, which is much more reasonable. Whew. That was white knuckle for a bit. I had the bailer at my fingertips just in case, but if I need that, it's probably too late. The rub is that I'm not out of the woods yet. There's still another 5 or 6 kilometers down the channel between Wilson and Kelvin Island, where then I'll be sheltered. But on the map it looks like there's a big beach there that I can crash land on if it's really rough. So yeah, and I ended up skipping the island that broke it up and just came directly across. I didn't like the angle that put me at. So yeah, it was a nearly 5 kilometer crossing. I'm glad it's done. On to Kelvin, and in hindsight, I definitely would have stayed at Anderson. What you gonna do? Or even done a night paddle last night. Sometimes you just gotta find out the hard way. Swell can be fun when it's not breaking. More of the same with the waves, but getting into a good rhythm with it. And there's a huge difference mentally when there's a long beach ready to come to the rescue. Seven kilometers later, I'm behind the next island. Low on steam, got some almonds, dried mango. That will hopefully get me, I'm sure it'll get me by. 4 kilometers left to the campsite I'm shooting for. Almost there. Finally back into a sheltered area. That was close to 4 hours. Imagine sitting down to watch Return of the King Extended Edition, but rough waves for that entire time. This is a relief. The marked campsite I was shooting for is coming up. Hope it's something good. Well, shucks. This is not what I had in mind. This is the most impacted campsite I've seen. Not that I've seen many campsites at all. Just, junk everywhere. Heavily used, worn. I like my campsites cozy and wild. And this one's just, it's great for some groups, but it's not my style. So I really don't want to keep going, but I think I'm going to, because I'll be happier just to carve out a bush site somewhere. But first, one quick rant. If you want to leave a grill at a campsite, fine, great. Don't leave your damn rags. I don't want that. Nasty rag. Take it, or I'll slaughter all of you. Look at all these poor trees, so choked out, reaching their hands out for a taste of sunshine. Got any spare rays, man?
Okay, groovy. Well, there was nothing for a good hour, and then this perfect slab of rock turned up with a great spot for the hammock there. This might not be such a perfect day for someone else. That helicopter is moving really slowly as though they're scanning. Hopefully everyone's okay. Yeah, when that target campsite didn't turn out for me, I was kicking myself for leaving the Anderson Islands. But this might be my favorite of the trip. Panoramic view, big slab of rock, and such a nice spot for the hammock. Afternoon shade and just an incredible view. Oh, I conked out solid there for a bit. Hunger got me up and at it again. And one other thing I was hoping for with this campsite is a view of the waves rolling in with this big south wind. Here, it feels perfectly calm. Right over here, the wind is raging. So, should be a good show as it builds up. Much needed bacon and eggs. A little green onion salt. There's a merganser family swimming by. Looks like they're having quite a lot of fun in the waves, diving. The waves would be a lot less stressful if you didn't have $10,000 of filming equipment on board. See how these waves are doing. Coming along nicely. So here's the map update. Yesterday 44 kilometers, today 22. I ended up not coming through here. The waves are really driving in there and I just wanted to get to this campsite as quickly as possible. Obviously that didn't work out. Continued to Gaunt Island to the top of it, and that couldn't have worked out better. Cheers to the power of storms, wind, and waves. Just love watching it. Just had dinner and I'm all squared away here at camp. Got stick fuel ready for tomorrow morning. I think I'll be pinned down based on the forecast. I'm tired of playing meteorologist, we'll see. But I'll likely be sleeping in. It should suit me fine. Waves are still rolling in and I've been entertained watching this hydrological mosh pit over there. Bedlam. All that's left today is to enjoy sunset. Day 9, waves are surprisingly fizzling. The wind was supposed to be very strong, but it's not bad. But there are some thunderstorms around, so I'm giving it a bit of time. Just about to get breakfast going here. And yeah, if things continue this way, I should be good to get on my way. It's choppy, but it's fine. A pleasant surprise. Just had breakfast, letting things settle down a little more. Wind is only supposed to drop off, and that's where I'm heading next. There's a big point, and I worry that could be still pretty chopped up. Earlier when I said that the wind was going to settle down, that was very naive. That wasn't the case at all. But at least I'm secure here on this slab of rock, not going up and down in the canoe. I'm free to fish or do whatever I want, descend into madness. It's not so bad out here, is it, Samwise? No, Mr. Frodo. It's paradise, if you think about it. Nothing dampens your spirit, does it, Sam? Here, take some of mine. You're my bestest friend in the whole world, Mr. Frodo. I know, Sam. Mango is my most favoritist of the dried fruits, Mr. Frodo. That's great, Sam. Mr. Frodo, do beavers actually kill trees? Yes, Sam. There's not a thing in this world I wouldn't do for you, Mr. Frodo. It's a bit much, Sam. You're getting on my nerves. Well, I got faked out again. It was simmering down. I got half packed up and I was gonna go for it, and it blew right open. There's whitecaps everywhere now, and it might beg the question, why would you do a trip like this in an open canoe if you're just gonna get stuck like that? Well, the rewards are often only equal to the challenge, right? So it's just rewarding the real obstacles, and you know, you have to think your way through it. Secondly, the grand vistas. Like, look at this view. I'm stuck here, but this is amazing. I'm loving every second of this trip. I'm having a fine time myself, Mr. Frodo. .30 now. This drops off very suddenly. Not going anywhere today. One last effort to get a fish for dinner. Very shallow here, but worth a shot. This trip hasn't been conducive to fishing. It's been too stormy, too windy, too shallow, or I've just been trying to motor when I do have good conditions. But I haven't really cared because there's been so much to enjoy. But tonight I was really hoping for a fish for grilled fish tacos. I was gonna lay a fish whole on the grill of the stick stove and do it up in a shell with sauce and crispy red cabbage. Oh, really wanted one. Too bad there's no action here. Not for me. Well, I went to retrieve my fishing gear, took a few last casts, and caught nothing. So it's mac and cheese for dinner, and I was debating a night paddle, but based on the forecast, looks like I might actually have a couple of decent paddling days coming up. So, shouldn't be necessary. Can't wait to get going tomorrow. Just amazing stars tonight. And here comes a big yellow moon. Day 10. Stiff, cool breeze coming out of the north, but Kelvin Island shields the spot pretty well from that. It's a great campsite. Back on our way. All smiles here this morning. Just came across a couple of northern flickers, two of the most beautiful birds you find here in the Canadian woods. They were chowing down on ants, I presume, on the cedar stump. Awesome to see. Can we eat those birds, Mr. Frodo? I'd like to try them with mashed taters and butter. Sam, have you ever played the quiet game? Begging your pardon, Mr. Frodo, but no, I haven't. The game is to see who can stay quiet the longest. I think I'm getting a nosebleed, Mr. Frodo. Just about to come around the west point of Kelvin Island, which was getting just hammered by the waves yesterday. So glad I waited. Beautiful conditions at the moment. Just a light wind. Stretching my legs here on this beach. Some big tracks here, moose or caribou. Still haven't seen any big mammals on this trip, but they're here. Saw a few more otters this morning, but they were elusive. And I'm about to cross over, 3-kilometer crossing and then island hop. All's well here. Out between the islands there's a cluster of rock and it's covered in xanthoria, that orange stuff. It's a lichenized fungus. And there's a mountain ash, a cedar, and maybe a willow clinging to life in here. Changing my course here a little bit too. I'm gonna head north to Jackfish Island, and I'm not quite ready to go back to the mainland yet. I want to stay in the islands. It really moved me. I'm not ready for this to end. Just finished what should be the last significant open water crossing of the trip. There's an old crib here, and arrived at twin campsites on either side of a peninsula. Big beach on the south side of campsite. Nice. I'm looking for a really special campsite to round out this trip, and I should really keep going. Wind is picking up a bit though. Glad I came along this side of Jackfish Island. It's really been scenic. The views of Outer Barn back there are just incredible. And some of the cedars growing on these shorelines are ancient. That one's just tangled into the rock there. 7 o'clock now, and I'm hoping to find that special spot for the last night. So I really wanted a special site to close out this trip, and this is going to be it. But what it lacks in curb appeal, it more than makes up for with features. Astounding view. Outer barn, inner barn, sunset, sunrise. Huge expansive view of the night sky. Some rock to cook on, you know how I love my rocks. And some breakers even, because it's whipping up out there. That's the other thing, it's 7:30 and I was just ready to stop. So yeah, I am just thrilled. Look at this wild beast. She's absolutely untamed. A stallion, bucking. 30 minutes ago, docile. Well, these breakers turned out to be just enough. Biscuits and sausage gravy tonight, and then a mint tea after that, just because I'm not ready for this day to end. Sometimes on this trip I've been thinking about the islands like castles, defended castles that have a moat around them with the rough water, and then steep, rocky, and tangly shorelines like castle walls, and occasionally archers shooting lightning bolts down from the sky. Well, I'm learning to play the game. I've got my own little castle here. The fire burning in the Great Hall. That's where I am for night 10 at the top of Birch Island. And who knows if I'll be able to get back tomorrow. It'll be a solid day, and it really depends on the mood of the lake. Hopefully it's cooperative. Magnificent. The view from Camp 10 has been everything I could have hoped for. I'm gonna have to pour a refill. I'm simply not ready to go. We've had quite the adventure these past 11 days, haven't we, Sam? Begging your pardon, Mr. Frodo, but I've only been out 3 days since you animated me from my driftwood slumber. Your charcoal paintbrush roused me from the deepest of sleeps. Well said, Sam. About to get back on my way, but I'm not quite out of the woods yet. There's a large peninsula at the mouth of Wabanach Bay, and there's a wind coming across here. Hopefully it's not too chopped up. Alright, one last push here. There's still plenty of whitecaps out there. Hoping they're going to be going past the point, but let's see how this goes. We're halfway now. A little surfing here. Ready for some turf. Got a bit bouncy on the way, but not too bad, and some terrific scenery at the end. Got a perfect tailwind today, and it's dead quiet in here as usual. Saw one motorboat all trip from afar on day 7, I think, and that was it. Sam, we're approaching the mouth of the Wabanach River. It's time to say goodbye. You've become very clingy, and it's time you had your own adventure. Farewell. Farewell? What do you mean, farewell? What the f*** are you doing, Mr. Frodo? Language, Sam, language. This water tastes foul. I think that's pelican poop. Goodbye, Sam. My facial features are water soluble! He'll be alright. You're my bestest friend in the whole world, Mr. Frodo. Mango is my most favoritist of the dried fruits, Mr. Frodo. There's not a thing in this world I wouldn't do for you, Mr. Frodo. I'm having a fine time myself, Mr. Frodo. Can we eat those birds, Mr. Frodo? I'd like to try them with mashed taters and butter. I think I'm getting a nosebleed, Mr. Frodo. It's paradise, if you think about it. Back to the pelicans and the rapid, and of course your fish here. Thank you. Back to the portage, and that means this trip on Nipkin is over. But what a tour of these islands. The bees really stood out. The Billings Beach, getting there late and watching the sunset, walking the beach in the morning, bison. That one came out of nowhere, wasn't expecting it at all, but what a sight. Birch last night, which was not anything exceptional in itself, but the view was just amazing. And then the trip was bookended by the Barn Islands, which are like sculptures, truly. The way light hits them, they're just magnificent, awe-inspiring. Really enjoyed the camp on Gaunt Island too, where I was wave bound. That was probably my favorite campsite. So the islands were everything I hoped they'd be and more. And then the other piece of this trip that made it so special, bordering on spiritual, was the grand vistas, panoramic views, the night sky, sunrise and sunset, moonrise too, looking at nothing but water to the horizon. Nipkin is just otherworldly, and it's one of those places that makes me feel like I'm somewhere else, on another world. I'll cherish this one so much. On to the portage. Back to the access. It can be tough ending a trip like this. Sad. So I always have some treats in the post-trip treasure chest to warm my spirit.
I'll slaughter all of you.